Welcome back to Life Enrichment with Hank Ballinger. Today we want to talk about, do you see yourself or your life four-dimensionally? Now, that's an odd topic, I realize that, odd title, but you'll see it'll make a lot more sense here in just a little bit. But before we get into that, would like to say thank you to those who watch the channel, who view it, who subscribe to it. We greatly appreciate that. If you can, tell others. The idea behind this channel is, and as you'll see when we get through going through this video, the idea of this channel is to encourage other people to build well, to set goals, to accomplish those goals, and to push really hard and to accomplish the things in life that they would want to accomplish and be the person they need to be. So that's the goal, and if you could help us with that, we would greatly appreciate that. Thanks. Do you see yourself four-dimensionally? Now, that's an odd title. But the idea is, if you have ever seen Back to the Future, as you'll remember, Doc, he was always talking about four dimensions and thinking four-dimensionally. And Marty McFly, he could never think four-dimensionally. He would always just think in three dimensions. Well, three dimensions is the width, the height, and the depth, or the breadth. So you've got three dimensions. But then the fourth dimension is time. So that's what we want to look at. How do you see yourself? So I want to run through a little illustration here as to life and how people see themselves. And there are a lot of people in life that just see themselves one-dimensionally. That's it. Some two-dimensionally, some three. But what I'm going to encourage you is to see yourself four-dimensionally. And you'll see why later. It'll make a lot of sense. Now, for those who see one dimension, a dimension, and go with me here, we could say it would be length. We could say it could be horizontally. That would be width. Or we could say it would be vertical. That would be height. But just go with me on this. We're going to say the one dimension is height. So you start down here and you go here. Well, that's all some people see themselves as. It's just one thing. That's all they can be. And they may spend 40, 50 years doing one job, and maybe it's a menial job. Maybe it's a really good job. I don't know. But that's all they see themselves. That's all they can see themselves is doing this one thing. Maybe that's not a bad idea. But let's look at the other side of the coin. Some people that only see themselves one-dimensionally, only doing one thing, sometimes they have very menial jobs or no jobs. Maybe they're junkies. Maybe they're alcoholics. So they're really wasting their life. And that's all they can see themselves. Just that. That's all I can become. That's all I can do. I'm always going to be a junkie. I'm always going to be an alcoholic. I'm always going to have this dead-end job. I'm never going to have enough money to get by. That's all they can see. This is all I can be. There is nothing true about that. There is nothing true about that. You can be more. Anybody could be more. Never see yourself one-dimensionally. You can be more than that. You should be more than that. To help yourself, your family, and others, mankind, you need to become more than that. You need to push. Now, some people see themselves two-dimensionally. Okay, maybe they've got this job, but maybe it's a menial job. But they say, you know what? I'm tired of this job. I don't like my boss. I don't like these people I work with. So I'm going to go over here and get a job. And it's a little better than the single dimension. They keep that same job, or they're junkie, whatever, and they do that the rest of their lives and just kind of waste their lives, spend their life doing nothing, accomplishing nothing. But here, what they do, maybe it's still the same job, but they just change places. So they're just kind of going back and forth. They never go up. You see, they may change laterally, but they never change up and advance. So there's no depth to that. All there is two-dimension, back and forth, maybe up and down, but maybe back and forth and side to side, but there is no up. I can't see myself advancing and becoming something better, something more. All I can do is go back and forth and side to side. That's it. But I can never go up. And so many people view themselves like this. I can get a menial job, but I can never get a white-collar job. I could never be a doctor. I could never be a high-income earner. I could never come up with an invention that can help mankind. I could never write a book. I could never write a play. I could never write a movie. I could never do anything that advances mankind. There's nothing to that. Anybody could do this. Anybody. Do you realize Einstein was a patent clerk, meaning he was working in an office for someone else? It wasn't his office. He was working for someone else as a patent clerk. When someone called in with patents on inventions, he would go through and see if that idea had ever been thought of before. If not, he would be one of the ones that would give them the patent on that. He worked as a patent clerk. Wasn't his business. But then he got out of it. Now, some people do see themselves three-dimensionally. They see themselves, I can work here, I could work over there. Maybe it's a menial job, maybe it's not, but maybe I could move up. Maybe I could get myself out of this to where I can move up a little bit. But then I can move up a little bit more than that, or I can move up. So their life changes. They not only have side to side, they got back and forth, and they have height. They can move up, and they can move up pretty often, maybe several times in their lives, and they can go from a menial job to a job that they feel has a lot of responsibility and a lot of possibilities for themselves, their family, and mankind. So that's good. They're moving up. They're helping themselves. That's okay. That's good. Any of these are okay as long as you're good with it, and as long as you think you're helping yourself, you're helping your family, and you're helping mankind. Don't sell yourself short. You can help. Okay, you can do it. So three-dimensionally is better because you're moving up. You're helping yourself. You're helping your family. You're helping mankind. This is better. But I want to show you something that might even be better. Now, let's look at this chart down here. To have a great future and build wealth, you need to see yourself four-dimensionally. You need to see that. Now, let's look again real briefly at three dimensions. Let's say you start your life in 1950, and let's say you live to 2050. So you live 100 years. How much of that time, generally speaking, of a 100-year person, someone lives to be 100 years, how much of that time is actually productive? Well, generally, let's say we get a job at 20. And let's say we retire in America at 65. Now, how many years did we work? 45. So less than half of our life, we can say we spent being productive, paying taxes. Now, I'm not saying that school wasn't productive. It was training us and educating us, getting us ready for life. But how much was productive out in the community? We would say, okay, let's say 45 years. That's less than half of the time. But let's say we decided to have something beyond our working time. Let's say we retire at 65. Could we do something else? Maybe we like to write novels. Maybe we like to write plays or poems. You like to write. Maybe you like to go out and do something else for others. Work in soup kitchens, work helping others, whatever. You're still helping others. But what about if you wanted to do something that could, maybe you're an inventor. You would love to see ideas. You have ideas in your mind. You would like to see them come to fruition. You would like to accomplish something in those fields. Maybe like Thomas Edison or Nikola Tesla. Maybe you're an inventor. Maybe you're that kind of guy. You're creative. You could do that pretty much right up until you die. So you don't have to quit. You could retire. Doesn't mean you have to quit, okay? You can still keep going. So let's say you live 100 you can be productive for most of that time. You could possibly be productive from 20 years of age up until about 90, 95, or maybe till the day you die at 100. So instead of being productive less than half of your life, you could be productive for 80% of your life. That's what I would encourage people to try to do. Be productive all the time. Keep your mind thinking. Keep your mind young. Keep it going. Now, let me show you. This is still three-dimensionally. You help yourself, and you may move back and forth, side to side, and you may move up. But let me show you four dimensionals. Let me show you the fourth dimension. Let's say this is your 100 years right here. Now, you live your life, maybe your family, your mom and dad, they didn't have much opportunity to get ahead or didn't take the opportunity. Maybe their parents didn't or their parents didn't. But you decide, hey, I'm going to build up a little bit. And if you notice, from here to here, you're building up. And you say, that's the way I want my life to go. But it's three-dimensional. But when you start thinking four-dimensionally, you see what you do is you pass those characteristics, those traits. Maybe your kids don't do the exact same thing that you do, but what they do is they take what you give them and they build on from there. And then their kids build on from there. And this is successive generations. Now, because you handed your kids something to start with, maybe you started from nothing and you build up, and then you hand it to them, and then they hand it to their kids, to their kids, to their kids, to their kids. That, by the time you get out 4 or 5 generations, they will have something to start with. And if they have those principles to build wealth, to accomplish goals, to set these goals, to help themselves, their family, and mankind, then successively it becomes bigger and more opportunity for them and for those that they come in contact with, their kids and their progeny after them. So this could successively get bigger and bigger. Do you see how now you're looking four-dimensionally? You're looking out not only at what you do in a small area, or in maybe just a little bit bigger area, or in maybe even a bigger area that's three-dimensional, but you're thinking way down the road. You're saying, I can not only help myself, but I can help my kids' kids. And do you know what the Bible says? A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children. That's what the Bible says. A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. You know, I don't know how many people I hear all the time that die and they don't have anything to leave to their kids, let alone their grandkids. But see, we can be productive. We can think four-dimensionally, and we should. We should be able to pass those characteristics on to our kids, to our grandkids, as much as we can have opportunity in their lives. And see, if we keep passing this on, then after 4 or 5 generations, that thing gets really big. A lot of opportunities. The more money you have in life, the more opportunities. And the more opportunities you take, the more opportunities that open up to you. So it just kind of builds on itself. Do you realize most generations don't make it past the first one? In Stanley and Danko's book, they wrote the book, The Millionaire Next Door. And they said 85% of all millionaires are first generation millionaires. What happened to the generation before us that had all the wealth? They passed it on to their kids, and their kids blew it. It's gone. Or that generation built the wealth up and they spent it. But a lot of times what happens is they build it up and they pass it on to their kids without giving their kids education and understanding of how to build wealth. And their kids squander it because they don't understand. They think money just grows on trees and you can just do whatever. And it's gone after the first generation. Teach your kids, very important, so that they can teach their kids and their kids. Do you realize most wealthy families, if they make it 2 generations, that's more than most. The Vanderbilts made it about 4, and Cornelius Vanderbilt started in the mid-1800s, around 1840, 50. And then around the 1930s and 40s, the Vanderbilts were broke. It happens. You can go a few successive generations, but then all it takes is one generation to destroy the whole thing. So it's very important that you instill very good information on how to build wealth, how to set goals, how to accomplish those goals. It's very important that you start instilling those in your kids very early. If you want to be four-dimensionally wealthy, four-dimensionally successful, you need to instill those ideas, those concepts, those lessons into your kids and to your kids' kids. That's what will make you redneck rich in 4 dimensions. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video.